Before we go ripping any wiring out of this car, it's a good idea that we go through it bumper to bumper, electrical wise, to see what works and what doesn't work in case we need to order anything. Let's give you a quick tour of the car before we do that. I picked up this beauty in August of 2025. I was searching for a while. I got lucky on this one. Got a hell of a deal on it. Very well taken care of. Put the mini blinds in the back for my daughter. Very happy with this purchase. No rust. It is a Georgia car. It was built in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the dealership badge, Camp Chamberlain. I have the original invoice for the car too. It's pretty cool. It's got the original tag on the trunk. And it's got the original Firestone spare with the original jack down there. Some of the parts that we're going to be putting in. A nice little 2 gauge. Panduit metal bar zip ties. I love these things. Super strong. Alright, let's do an inspection on this car. Let's start in the interior. We got dome lights. Actually, as soon as I got the car, I just ordered a set of these dome light door triggers on Amazon. So that way I had dome lights. Left turn, right turn, brakes. We'll see that in the back in a minute. Factory fan works. Cigarette lighter works. Radio doesn't work. Aftermarket AC works. Although I just had the AC system evacuated, so I didn't have to do that in my garage. Horn. Wipers. Let's do low speed. High speed. The pump function doesn't work, so I gotta figure that out. Super clean. Didn't have any accessories other than this aftermarket AC down here. The wiring is very minimal. I added a kill switch and a few little things, but overall, this is how I got the car. I kind of just cleaned up some of the wire, just kind of zip tied it, taped some. When I added the tack, I taped that harness. But everything is clean. You'll see here on these glass style fuse box holders, there's a lot of corrosion where those fuses go. That is always a big source of heat. When you have corrosion like that, things start getting hot. So I popped those fuses out, used the wire brush and kind of cleaned inside there a little bit. That helped reduce some of the heat. With heat like that, you start getting melted connectors. So now that we got our inspection done, let's go through with what we're going to do. Let me show you around here. So when I first got the car, I went ahead and changed the battery terminals, battery cables. I added a kill switch down there. So I got a 4-gauge positive dropping off the battery right into that kill switch and outputs to the starter and the rest of the car. Ground here, I got one small 8-gauge ground or 10-gauge ground going right there to the radiator support for the front lighting grounds, and then I got a 4-gauge cable dropping down under the battery over to here. Over on the driver's side behind the power steering, or actually at the power steering bracket, I cleaned the block, cleaned the brackets, and put a 4-gauge ground there, and that comes over to the frame. I got a chrome $75 alternator from Amazon, and it's 105 amps. Not a bad deal on Amazon, 75 bucks. I added a 4-gauge power cable off of it and a 4-gauge ground that comes off. Ground goes right there to the frame. The 4-gauge power goes up the radiator, across, and down to the kill switch. One thing I want to note is that the factory horns, I took them off. I polished, or I wire brushed the paint off of the contact points where it mounts to this, and I cleaned up on the underside of this too to remove any paint, since this whole thing is grounded right here to the battery. So I wanted a good horn contact. All right, another very important tip: notebooks. Grab yourself a notebook, start taking notes on your build. Everything from stripping out to building it, everything that's wrong with it, everything that's going good, everything that's ordered. Take notes. I got notebooks here going back a few years on all my builds. Even on this car, 29-pin connector, I can quickly refer to this particular car, to this particular build, and know that pin 5 is for high beam, pin 6 is for right turn, pin 7 is for left turn, so on and so on. It's nice to have these notebooks. I went ahead and created one for the Impala. I have what needs to be stripped out on the front end, what parts that need to be stripped out in the front end, like the grill latch to remove the AC condenser, radiator hoses, AC system, OEM heater box and hoses. The interior, what I'm going to be stripping out here: AC unit with hoses, steering wheel, steering column, dash housing, gauge cluster, headlight switch, tack, cigarette lighter adapter, HVAC controls, kick panels, OEM heater and core, glove box, and trunk harness. Here I start with the build. What I'm going to be doing for the front end build, what needs to be done. So I list out what needs to be done, and then I give myself a few pages of notes, or extra for notes. So for example, radiator with dual fans, I'll start that off here on build notes 1, radiator with dual fans. All right, great. Where am I going to mount the dual fan relays? Where am I going to mount the auto reset breakers for those relays? And where am I going to mount the fan controller? So all that will be documented here, and how much time I spent on that. Interior build: vintage air cooling unit, firewall insulation, American auto wire fuse box, as well as cutting the firewall for that fuse box. So there's a lot that I need to break down on these following pages. So it's good to have a notebook to keep track of all your stuff. All right, now that we got a notebook to start taking some notes, let's add to it. This is the driver's side firewall. There you will see the bulkhead. The harnesses plug into the bulkhead. The bulkhead is basically the back of the fuse box. Left side is the engine harness. Right side is the front lighting, horn, turn signal, low and high beam. This engine harness will take care of water, distributor ignition, oil pressure sending unit, electric choke, starter trigger, and factory heater fan. Once we remove those, that whole harness will come out. I do plan to possibly redo the 4-gauge power and ground cables from the alternator to the battery, alternator to the frame, frame to the block, and frame to the battery. Moving on to the interior, we are going to remove the steering wheel, steering column, since we have an I did it steering column tilt. We have a new vintage air unit, so we're going to strip this AC unit out, including the controls. We'll probably keep those same knobs. We have a Dakota digital dash going in, RTX series, so that whole gauge cluster is going to come out. Old fuse box is coming out. Headlight switch is coming out, as the American Autowire kit has a new switch. We know the wiper switch works, so we don't need to replace that. I have tested the pump function. It's just not responding on the motor side, so it's probably seized from not being used for so many years. Neutral safety and reverse switch plugs do work, so I'm not going to replace this switch. That'll go onto the I did it harness. So this whole dash will be one piece that comes off. All here. That whole piece will come off. I plan to pull the rear body harness, which is right here. I plan to pull it from the side. From there, I will pull that section out, which splits. It goes up the trunk, routes through here, and covers the trunk lid lights. We have reverse, and then the other parking and brake turn. The other side runs up in here, drops down and splits to this left rear tail light, drops down somewhere to go to the license plate light, right here, drops down to the underneath to get to the license plate light, and then over here, pull that out. That'll complete our strip out. And I just jammed my back into that. Oh, it feels great. Feels great. Feels awesome.